Let's play a quick game. Look at these two guys. The guy on the left, he makes $250,000 a year. He's a VP. He's got the lease, the house in the hills, and the reservations at the places you can't get into. The guy on the right, he makes $65,000 a year. He manages a small team. He drives a car that's 10 years old. Now, who would you rather be? Most of you just said the guy on the left, because our brains are wired to equate income with wealth. But here's the thing. The guy on the left has $4,000 in his checking account and $80,000 in consumer debt. If he loses his job tomorrow, he is, logically, mathematically, and emotionally screwed within 3 weeks. The guy on the right, he has $50,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account. Liquid, accessible, boring. And because of that boring pile of cash, he walks taller, he sleeps deeper, and, this is the part nobody tells you, he actually has more power than the guy making 4 times his salary. Today, I'm going to show you why a high income is often a trap, and why $50,000 in the bank is the most powerful drug on earth. Let's get into it. My name is Dino, and I spend way too much time thinking about why having money in the bank feels better than spending money at the mall. And look, I get it. We live in a culture that screams at us to upgrade. You get a raise, you get a better apartment. You get a bonus, you get a better car. But there is a massive, massive difference between looking rich and being resilient. And the stats right now? They are terrifying. According to recent data, about 37% of adults can't cover a $400 emergency expense with cash. That's not just low-income people. We are seeing people earning over 6 figures living paycheck to paycheck. That is insanity. Today we are going to break down the math of the gap. We're going to talk about the psychology of lifestyle creep. And I'm going to prove to you why building a liquid fortress of $50,000 is the single best thing you can do for your mental health. Period. If you're ready to stop pretending to be rich and actually start being free, hit that like button so the algorithm knows we're serious. Let's go. Section 1. The high income trap. Here's the thing about a high income. It masks mistakes. When you make a lot of money, you feel invincible. You think, if something breaks, I'll just earn more. But psychology plays a dirty trick on us called hedonic adaptation. That's a fancy way of saying you get used to the nice stuff really, really fast. You get the promotion. You start buying the organic blueberries. You start leasing the BMW because you need to look the part. You move to the building with the doorman, and for 3 months, it feels great. You feel like a king. But by month 4, that's just your life. That is your new baseline. It doesn't bring you joy anymore. It just brings you bills. This is called lifestyle creep, and it is the enemy of wealth. I know guys making $300,000 a year who are more stressed than they were when they made $50,000. Why? Because their burn rate, the amount of money they must spend just to keep the lights on, has skyrocketed. They have put on the golden handcuffs. If your lifestyle costs $20,000 a month to maintain, and you lose your job, that high income disappears. But the expenses, they stick around. That lease payment doesn't care that you got laid off. And here is the kicker. High earners often have less empathy from others and more social pressure to maintain appearances. So when they hit a wall, they crash hard. Research actually shows that while high income improves your ability to handle a short-term shock, it does not guarantee net worth. In fact, if you earn $150,000 but spend $150,000, your financial resilience is exactly 0. You are broke. You're just broke at a higher level. Section 2. The math of resilience. Why $50,000 is greater than high salary. Okay, let's do some math. I want to show you why liquid savings specifically that magic number of $50,000, is more powerful than a salary bump. Let's take our two guys from the beginning. Guy A, the high roller, take-home pay $12,000 per month. Expenses $11,500 per month. Big mortgage, car payments, private school, eating out. Savings rate $500 per month. Total savings $2,000. Guy B, the saver, take-home pay $4,000 per month. Expenses $3,000 per month. Total savings $50,000. Now, look at this. If a recession hits and they both lose their jobs, Guy A has $2,000 saved and spends $11,500 a month. He has roughly 5 days of survival before he has to start selling assets or maxing out credit cards. 5 days. Guy B has $50,000 saved and spends $3,000 a month. Let's do the division. $50,000 divided by $3,000 is 16.6 months. 16 months. Guy B can take a year off to find himself. He can start a business. He can wait for the perfect job instead of taking the first desperate offer. This is what we call runway. The high earner has a Ferrari engine, but a thimble of gas. The saver is driving a Prius, but he has a tanker truck of fuel behind him. Who is actually free? The power of money isn't just in what it can buy you today, it's in the time it buys you tomorrow. Liquid savings is basically crystallized freedom. And unlike a high salary, which requires you to keep showing up to work every single day to maintain it, that $50,000 sits there and works for you. It's your shield. And look, I know what some of you are thinking. But Dino, with inflation, cash is trash. Stop it. We aren't talking about investing for retirement right now. We'll get to that in another video. We're talking about resilience. You cannot pay your rent with a stock portfolio that just dropped 20%. You pay it with cash. Having that liquid buffer is the foundation that allows you to take risks later. You can't swing for the fences if you're terrified of striking out because you can't afford lunch. Section 3. The psychological shift. FU money. Now, let's talk about the stuff you can't measure on a calculator, the psychology. There is a concept in finance, pardon my French, called FU money. When you have zero savings, you are subservient. You have to laugh at your boss's bad jokes. You have to say yes to the overtime you don't want. You are constantly operating from a place of fear, and human beings make terrible decisions when they are afraid. This is present bias and scarcity mindset in action. You grab the small dollar today because you're terrified of the $0 tomorrow. But when you have $50,000 in the bank, your brain chemistry actually changes. You walk into meetings differently. You negotiate differently. When you don't need the deal, you usually get the deal. Why? Because desperation smells and confidence attracts. I've seen this happen 100 times. Someone builds up their emergency fund and suddenly they get promoted, or they quit their toxic job and double their income in 3 months. It's not magic. It's leverage. Having liquid savings removes the cognitive load of financial stress. Do you know how much mental RAM you are using just worrying about bills? When you free up that processing power, you become more creative, more energetic, and more effective. The high earner living paycheck to paycheck is constantly running at 99% CPU usage, just trying to keep the lifestyle afloat. They are exhausted. The person with the liquid savings has margin, and margin is where wealth is actually built. Section 4. How to actually do this. Fighting the urge. So, how do we do this? How do we become Guy B without living like a monk forever? Because I know it's hard. Instagram is telling you to travel. Your friends are upgrading their kitchens. 1. Create The gap. Wealth is simply the gap between your ego and your income. That's it. You have to artificially suppress your lifestyle. If you make $50,000, live on $40,000. If you get a raise to $70,000, still live on $40,000. Bank the difference. 2. Automate the suffering. You cannot trust your willpower. You just can't. If the money hits your checking account, you will find a way to spend it. Oh, I need new tires. Oh, it's my cousin's birthday. No. Set up an auto transfer. The day you get paid, that money moves to a separate bank. Not a separate account, a separate bank. Make it annoying to get to. 3. Define your enough. This is the hardest part. You have to decide what actually makes you happy versus what you're buying to impress people you don't even like. If you love cars, fine, buy the car, but cut ruthlessly on the clothes, the eating out, and the tech. You can have anything you want, but you can't have everything. Stop chasing rich. Rich is loud. Rich is fragile. Start chasing wealthy. Wealth is quiet. Wealth is resilient. Wealth is having $50,000 in the bank and driving a Honda Civic with a smile on your face because you know you could quit your job tomorrow and be fine for a year and a half. Look, building that first $10,000, then $20,000, then $50,000, it's a grind. It's not sexy. Nobody applauds you for transferring money into a savings account, but the peace of mind, the ability to sleep at night, that is priceless. Don't let lifestyle creep steal your freedom. Don't let high income fool you into thinking you're safe. Build the fortress. If you found this helpful, or if you're currently on the grind to your first $50,000, drop a comment below with Fortress so I know you're with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to actually master your money instead of just renting it. My name is Dino. Thanks for watching.